Leah also went out. Why did Leah go out? Oh, it's also because one day, Rachel had no children. Leah kept on having children. Rachel felt terrible. All of the imams had problems with having children. Every single one of them. Leah had a lot of children, but she suffered because her husband didn't really want to be with her. He was tricked into marrying her. And once he married her, he felt he couldn't disgrace her, humiliate her. So he stayed with her. He's a midas emes, truthful person. Anyway, one day she sees that Reuven, firstborn of Leah, picks some wildflowers. Says they're jasmine. That's what they were. Called dudoyim. And he gives them to his mother because he loves her. They are a love potion. They help a pregnant woman to be with child. So Rachel says, could I have those flowers? And Leah answers her very harshly and says, it's not enough you took my husband, you want the flowers too? What if you took my husband? It must mean here that Leah never understood the whole story. That she was tricked into marrying Yaakov. She just knows her father came one day and said, get dressed, you're getting married tonight.
Oh, she never knew?
What?
She never knew?
You have to say she never knew. Why else would she say, isn't it enough you took my husband? What do you mean my husband? It's the other way around. She took Rachel's husband. Yaakov worked 7 years to marry Rachel. In the last minute, his swindler, his father, the father-in-law, the swindler, made a switcheroo and put Leah in there instead. And it was dark, and next morning he said, what's going on? He didn't make a public outcry, but he went to his father and they said, what did you do that for? How could you do such a thing? He says, around here, we don't marry the younger one before the older one. He said, why you put me into such a situation? He said, finish Sheva Brachos. After Sheva Brachos, you'll marry Rachel because you'll work another 7 years. He's a swindler. So he got 14 years free labor. And good labor. He made him rich. He made him wealthy. Not only made him wealthy, but before that, Lavan had no children, had no sons. Just had twin daughters. And because Yaakov was there to bless the house, wherever Yaakov went, he brought blessing. Came down to Egypt, he brought blessing to Egypt, and then the famine. Wherever the tzaddik goes, he brings blessing. The Friedrich Rebbe came to New York, boom, America took off. Tzaddik brings blessing wherever he goes. Yaakov brought blessing, and Lavan had sons, and he became very wealthy because Yaakov was there. So you have to say that I think so. I never saw anybody else who says it, but that doesn't seem normal that Leah could say such a harsh word to her own flesh and blood sister if she knew that she only married Yaakov because her father swindled him and tricked him into it. Because what happened? Rachel and Yaakov worked out. They figured Lavan is such a ganav, we can't trust him. Yaakov says to him, I want to work for you for 7 years to marry your daughter, your younger daughter, Rachel, with all the details, and still he tricked him. Why did he say all those details? Because he knew and he still tricked him anyway. So they worked out signs that if Lavan is going to trick me, going to trick Rachel, so Yaakov will know, and he won't go through with the marriage. And sure enough, Lavan pulls a switcheroo, and he's bringing Leah in. And Leah gets dressed up in a Kala's dress, and her face is covered. Nobody can see. You know, that's why they say when a girl comes to the chuppah, they say, "Woo!" What are they saying? They're saying it's Leah, it's Leah, it's Leah, 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 Leah. They're trying to let him know that it's Leah. He doesn't know. He doesn't realize. Because they had these secret signs between them. And at the last minute, Rachel had Rachmanus. She had mercy. She couldn't bear to see her sister, who she loved, humiliated like this. That it's going to be a scandal, and Yaakov's going to call off the whole wedding, and it's going to be humiliating. She went over to Leah, and she gave her the secret signs. Now, how did she do it? My imagination tells me, okay, that she didn't tell her why. She probably just told her, you know what, my dear sister, it's a good thing for a happy marriage to do this before you get married, and whatever the sign was, you know, step on your husband's foot or something like that. That was maybe that was the sign. What was the sign? They had a secret sign between them. So she gave her the secret sign. So Leah gave Yaakov the secret sign, and Yaakov, in all innocence, married her. And the next morning, they didn't have lights, you know, they didn't have like we have lights. It was dark. And in the sunlight, he saw that he'd been tricked. So this is back to the ranch. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Reuben, Leah's firstborn son, gives her these flowers that are they help a woman. They're like I don't know what you call it. They induce pregnancy. They make pregnancy possible. So that's why Rachel asks. Rachel was barren. She was chalashim to have a child. And Leah answers her so harshly, isn't it enough you stole my husband? You want to take away the flowers too? So Rachel breaks Rachel's heart to hear such words. And she knows that she gave up her husband to this woman who accuses her of stealing him. How did she feel? Goodness gracious. Who is there? Who are you?
Natalia.
Who?
Natalia.
Natalia? Move over one seat, please. Where are you from? California?
No, Miami.
What?
Miami.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Miami. Okay. Miami Beach or Miami? Miami Beach or Miami?
Used to be Miami Beach, now Miami.
What, the city changed or you moved?
I moved.
So she says, Rachel says, in exchange, if you'll give me these flowers, that maybe I'll be able to have a baby. If I drink tea with jasmine tea. I will give you my husband. I will give you Yaakov tonight. Tonight you can be with Yaakov. So she gave Leah the right to be with Yaakov that night. And as a result, there was a child born. And that child was Yisachar, became the greatest Torah scholar of all the sons. But now they say she had a problem. How was Yaakov going to know? How was she going to let him know? A Jewish girl doesn't just hang around in the street corners. Yaakov's going to go out working the whole day. Eventually he's going to come home. How's she going to know? When he comes home, he's going to go where he's going to go. He's going to go to Rachel, to where she's living, to her place. And then it's going to be a balagan. Rachel's going to have to say to him, no, I'm not with you tonight. You're with Leah tonight. It's very embarrassing. So Leah has to figure out how she can meet Yaakov before he gets home. So she's listening the whole time. And when Yaakov comes home, I mean, she can't just be out on the street. I mean, the shepherds around, the people around. So she's waiting, and the donkey, you know what donkeys say? Eon. Eon. She hears the donkey. She knows Yaakov is home. She comes out and greets him and says, tonight, I made a secret arrangement with Rachel. Tonight, we could be together. And they are. So that's why it says, Yatsa Dina. No, Yatsa Leah. Leah went out in order, in a very modest way, to greet her husband. And then when Dinah goes out, it says, you see, the daughter is like the mother. The mother went out, now Dinah went out, but she got into trouble. They kidnapped her, they raped her. And she had a child. And that child ended up marrying Yosef. That child was also sold into Egypt. And Yosef was so handsome. And he became the ruler of the whole country. All the women wanted to see him. And when he rode through the streets of Egypt, they threw jewelry at him. So Asnat, that was her name, she had a necklace, a golden necklace with letters on it. Nobody could read these letters because they were Hebrew. And when Dinah, when Shimon and Levi, this kid killed all the people of Shechem, they took her, they rescued her, and she said, if you don't marry me, I'm not going out. So he married her, and she had a child, but there was shame in the child. And eventually, I'm not sure with the Midrashim how they explain it, that child ended up in Egypt. But she had this necklace that said, whoever marries her, or this is a daughter of Yaakov, it said in Hebrew letters, this is a descendant of Yaakov. So the women were throwing the jewelry at Yosef, and he saw this necklace, and he said, who's this from? And he married her. And she became the mother of Ephraim and Manasseh. Some story, huh? As the world turns. It's a real soap opera. Very emotional story. And make a film out of it. Okay, chapter 20. Lam Natseya Mizmar L'Davi Yancha Adonai B'Yem Tzara. Oh, Hashem should answer us on the day of our distress. All these hostages are being held 1 year and 4 months already. Are they still alive? Nobody even knows. They won't say. Terrible, terrible. Hashem have Rachmanas. Yisagev Hashem Elohei Yanki. What did they do, these people? That they have to suffer in captivity. In captivity. They're captives. One of the biggest mitzvahs is to redeem a captive, to free someone from captivity, from jail. It's not a life. You don't know if you're going to live one more day. You're the whole time living in fear. Hashem send help from your holy chamber, Mitzia and Yisadeka, from Jerusalem, Yizkar Kol Michaisecha. Please remember all our offerings that we brought for you, our devotional, our devotion to you, our sacrifices for you. Yadachna Sela, that you should and he should grant your heart's requests. Hashem, I promise I'm going to be a good girl, and he should enable you to be a good girl. So then we can rejoice, Yeshua Secha, in your salvation, Ubashem Eloheinu Nidgel, and we'll raise the banner of Hashem on high. Yamale Adonai kol mishalei secha. Hashem should fulfill your heart's desire, all your requests. Now I know, says King David. Hashem saves his anointed one, that's the Messiah. Yanehu Mishme Kodshe, answering him from his holy heavens. The Gvuris Yesha Yamine, with might and salvation from his right hand. Some come with chariots and tanks and cavalry and drones and missiles, supersonic missiles. And we come with the name of God on our lips. My grandson had a nachas tefillin this week. He said a mimer like supersonic. It was faster than the speed of light. They fell and they don't get up. And we are still standing strong 3,500 years later. Do you understand, girls, what a privilege it is? How fortunate we are. We are descendants of Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov, these giants, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. We have brought the message of God into the world. And every good deed we do, every action cries out to mankind. All right. Just a word before we start that tomorrow is a fast day. I'm sure you'll get prepped by your teachers and so on. Just one point about fasting. The whole point of fasting is not to lose weight. The whole point of fasting is it's like bringing an offering to the temple. If you bring an offering, you have to pay for it. It costs money. They don't just give away animals for you. You're bringing the offering because you're saying, it's like you're saying, Hashem, I know I really don't deserve to survive. I've done not nice things, but you're very kind, and you're going to let me continue in this world doing mitzvahs and learning Torah. And instead of taking my life, you'll take this animal in my stead. And you lean on the animal like this. You put your whole weight on the animal and you transfer your being onto the animal. And this animal goes for you like by a Erev Yom Kippur. You know, this chicken is going to death and I'm going to a good, long, happy life. Hashem accepts the chicken instead of and lets you off the hook. So that's the idea, is to look into the garments that we're wearing, which is the clothes of our soul, our behavior, our way of speaking, our way of carrying ourselves, that we should carry ourselves more modestly, with humility and with respect. When you have humility, you can respect everybody. When you're arrogant, you don't respect anybody. You want everybody to respect you. My mother, Alea Sholem, she used to say that people with an inferiority complex, they don't really have an inferiority complex. They don't really feel inferior. They're just afraid that everyone won't realize that they're superior. And that's what bothers them. The really humble person looks at everybody and thinks, wow, if I had his talents, if he had my talents, he'd be even better than I, he'd be much better than I am. And they look at everybody as better than themselves. And therefore they want to help everybody and participate help them to achieve their goals. So we want to work on our humility and we want to push aside our ego, and we want to learn, say some extra chapters of Psalms, do Chumash Rashi, look at some of the beautiful Svarim we have here from Sichos in English, and give extra charity. If you usually give a quarter every day, so give 2 quarters for the sake of the fast. Now, concerning the fasting, I have a very good friend of mine once said to me, I don't like fasting, it makes me hungry. The fast begins at 5 minutes to 6 in the morning. So this afternoon, when you daven the afternoon prayer, if you daven the afternoon prayer, you can make a condition with God and say, Hashem, I know I'm going to go to sleep tonight, but I'm making a condition now. You have to do this afternoon that I'm going to get up from my sleep and I'm going to say brachas and have a cup of coffee before 10 minutes to 6. You can have breakfast. And then it's a short fast. It's easy. Really. From 10 minutes to 6. But Ma'ariv, we don't make Kiddush between 6 and 7. And Ma'ariv candle lighting is 5:30. It's 4:30. So that means the Ma'ariv service is at 5:30. That means you got to daven Ma'ariv, or Ma'ariv has to be davened, then someone's got to make Kiddush before 6. It's not much time. Got to rush people are going to run home because they want to break the fast. I heard that some people are going to daven Ma'ariv a little bit earlier, like at 5:20 instead of 5:30, to give people an extra few minutes to get home to make Kiddush, so you don't have to prolong the fast. So otherwise, you can't make Kiddush until 7 o'clock. Okay, but you can have breakfast until 10 to 6. I'm giving you an extra 5 minutes there. It's really 5 minutes to 6 is the cutoff time, the beginning of the fast. Fast begins 5 minutes to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. But there's an alternative. That is, sleep in.
And miss your class?
And I have to come to class and teach. I don't have a day off. Okay, we're in chapter 6. Speaking of 6 o'clock, we're in chapter 6, and we just learned the fundamental principle of creation, that everything has a point, counterpoint, an opposite counterpoint. And we learned, what did we do? We got through 6 or 7 things that we could learn how to serve God from a thief. Got to be quiet, got to be secret, got to be brave, you have to be confident, you have to plan everything out. Every detail, we didn't mention this. You have to pay attention to every little detail. Anybody ever read murder mysteries? Sherlock Holmes? He solves his mysteries from a little detail, a piece of purple thread or something. He'll figure out who did it. Every detail counts. You got to be quick. You have to be fearless. You have to be confident. And if you don't succeed, you try again. All these are good qualities if you use them in the service of God. Okay, now we learned that a soul has 3 aspects to it that he talks about in the Tanya here: nefesh, ruach, neshama. Nefesh is connected with the body, is close to the body. When the nefesh goes, then the body is dead. The body starts to decompose. But the nefesh remains close, always. And the ruach has to do with your feelings. That's more spiritual, more subtle. And neshama is part of God. Chapter 2, Tanya, the neshama in a Jewish person is a part of God. Mamish, really, really. Okay. Now, page 101. Just as the godly soul, the neshama, Rebbe said to somebody who was going to speak to not observant Israeli youth on the kibbutzim, who were being educated to have nothing to do with Yiddishkeit. We're Israeli, that's what counts, right? So he said, how do I speak to them? The Rebbe said, just tell them they have a neshama. That's what they have to know. And you can take this into your homes, your friends, your cousins and family. This is the message that they have to get from you. Why are you doing this? Why you? Because I have a neshama. A neshama. Remember my 11-year-old cousin who told me he realized he was thinking was sort of getting an inkling of the fact that he has a soul. I never knew about these things, never thought about it. Never thought about it, never knew what it was. Okay. So just like the godly soul, chapter 3 has 10 parts to it, 3 aspects of the intellect, that's Chabad, wisdom, development, connection, inspiration, development, connection, Chabad, right? And 7 drivers from your heart, which are really love on the right and discipline on the left, respect. Love without respect is a disaster. Marriages never work. No respect, marriage falls apart. Respect is, which is greater? Respect. Respect. A marriage can work with respect. Love alone, not so good. So we have all these 7 faculties of the emotions. They are developments, offshoots, like branches of love and discipline, love and respect, love and strength, gevura. Okay. So just like our soul is made up of these 10 aspects, which correspond to the 10 stages with which Hashem creates the world and creates everything, the DNA of creation is tenfold. And then there's the higher than tenfold is 11. 11 tells us there's a creator. Number 11 is the creator. The Rebbe, next month, right? Shvat. The 10th of Shvat is a significant day as the final day in this world of the previous Rebbe. And the 11th of Shvat is the day that our Rebbe became Rebbe. Or you could say became instantaneous. It was the first full day of his leadership was the 11th day of Shvat. So we have the 10 aspects of creation, and higher than that is 11. And number 11 is very connected with the Rebbe. That's his birthday, is the 11th day of Nisan, first month of the year. And just like the godly soul has 3 garments, which are, right? So too, the soul of the other side. Remember the other side, Sitra is side, Acher is other. The other side, Sitra, Achra, which comes from Klippa. What is Klippa? What is Klippa? Klippa is what you cut your hair with klippas. No, that's clippers. You used to have ships, clipper ships. The British had a clipper. They sailed very fast. British ruled the seas with their clipper ships. A klippa is a shell, a peel, a banana peel, an orange peel. On Pesach, some people peel their tomatoes because they're afraid that maybe there's something leavened in the spray that the farmers might have sprayed the tomatoes. They peeled the tomatoes. We got rid of it. We got rid of the peels. The peels, there are different levels of peels. There are peels that are useful. Well, all peels are useful. They protect what's inside. Some peels are edible. Like you could eat banana peels if you dry them and grind them. They could be used like a spice, I guess. Or orange peels, peels from pears or apples, you can eat them or peel them. Carrots, you can peel carrots or eat them with the peel. Potatoes, not so good. Anybody eat potato peels?
On their own?
On their own? On your own?
On my own?
Yeah.
With peels on their own? On my own? I don't know.
When you're starving, when the Jews were in the ghettos and they had no food, they were starving to death, they would eat potato peels. They would eat anything that resembled food, anything to stay alive. But those are peels. But then there are peels that we can't eat at all. Like peanuts have 2 levels of peels. The woody outer peel you can't eat. But there's a thin inner peel, the brown inner peel you could eat. Not everybody likes it, but you could. Pistachios, you can't eat the outer peel. Walnuts, you can have roasted walnuts, but you can't eat the casing that they come in. So similarly, in the world of klippas, life energy is covered by peels. The peels cover the life energy, make it invisible to us, so that the forbidden substance, the peel cries out to you and says, eat me, drink me. I'm good. It's okay. Don't worry. You don't have to be observant. That's what the peels, that's the message of the peels. So the energy for forbidden things comes from an area that's called klippa. And klippa is connected with the other side. And in the world, just like there are 4 levels in holiness, which correspond to the 4 worlds, the world of action, the world of emotions, the world of creativity, of intellect, and the world of godliness. There are four worlds, okay, corresponding to the 4 letters of God's name. Similarly, we have point, counterpoint in the world of klippa. On the other side, we also have 4 levels. And just like in holiness, we have 3 lower levels, and then the creator, the God himself. So in klippa, we have 3 lower levels also. And we have a higher level. That higher level is called noga. Noga. You can look it up on your phones what noga is in ancient mythology. I think it stands for Jupiter. I'm not sure. A very powerful constellation is called Noga. Noga means to shine. This level of life is called Noga because it has the potential to go up into holiness, to leave the realm of klippa and be connected to God, to be connected to holiness. So what is this? What is the function of the klippa called noga? Its function is to give life to everything that we can interact with it. It's okay. Like, for instance, you go shopping, where do you get the energy from? It's not forbidden, it's not holy. So you get the energy from noga. Exercise, business, sports, all the food that's not forbidden, healthy diet, all that stuff gets its energy from the klippa called noga. Okay, so that's our world, gets its energy from klippa's noga. And when we use that world in a good way, according to the directions, when all fails, what do? When nothing works, what do? Read the directions.
Sometimes the directions.
Read the directions, they're too hard to understand. So then you call the secretary. How do you get this thing to work?
Sometimes you just have to do the same thing and just keep going and going and going until it happens in up there.
Okay, could be. Usually I call the secretary. The boss runs the place, the secretary is God. She makes everything work. Okay, so where does this klippa hang out? The sitra achra. It's in your blood, so it's everywhere. It's you. It's your vitality. It's your strength. It's not holy, but it's not bad. So everything that's bad gets its life from the three lower klippas. In one place in the next chapter, in this chapter, we're going to find out that they have a name. But that's all. The Alter Rebbe doesn't go into it. He doesn't talk about negative things very much. He stresses, the approach of Hasidus is to stress the positive. Focus on the positive, and who cares about the negative? We're not going there. We're not interested. Whereas there's a different ethical approach which stresses the negative, and so it spends a lot of time talking about negative things, so you'll be aware. Avoid them. The Hasidus says, forget about it. Just do good. Just do good. Do lots of good. Lots and lots and lots and lots of good. Okay. Now, the energy from the animal soul, the vital soul, is rooted in a person's blood, left side of the heart. All right, that's our class for today. And we're going to go on to see that just like in the godly soul, we have these 10 levels which mirror on the other side, like through the looking glass, the other side of the looking glass. They mirror in distortion, so to speak, the holy pattern of creation. And we're going to find the same thing also in this in-between level called Noga. It also has 10 levels. Okay. It's easy, fast. Do a good deed. Be careful, don't lose your temper. Do only smile. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. Make someone else smile on the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, girls. You are the best every day. Better than the day.
Yes, I see myself as like is. No, it's fine, it's okay. Don't want to be Are you serious? Yes. Were you like in a rush? Yeah. I usually get kind of I don't know how that's good. So like I had to tune in. That was really nice. You know, she's like early. It is in the morning or early at night? Yeah. Yeah.